So we have already looked upon these many topics till diesel cycle. Okay, so Stirling and Ericsson cycle is not in our this particular course. You may encounter these cycles in your advanced courses, but we will briefly tell superficially we'll tell about what we'll talk about what these are. Yes, we will look on Brayton cycle, gas turbine engines, and it's another variant. It's more closely towards Brayton cycle, but another variant called jet propulsion cycle we'll look into. Today we are going to talk about this Brayton cycle, and let's see what how far we have gone till diesel cycle. And we will take up few examples which we have left before today if time permits. Okay, so still here we have seen that at RC is equal to 1, it behaves like an Otto cycle, and we can see that for a particular compression ratio, let's suppose I put my compression ratio as 15. So for 15, we can see the diesel cycle is the efficiency of Otto cycle is greater than diesel cycle. Okay, that we have seen. But somebody may ask, what could be the more efficient engine that you could think of? So remember we talked about something called Carnot cycle. Obviously, this is a hypothetical cycle which may operate similar to these Otto or diesel cycles, but Carnot cycle will have maximum efficiency. Okay, remember how does this Carnot cycle would look like on PV diagram? So on PV diagram, we told that we have a hypothetical piston cylinder arrangement. Do you remember? Let's suppose we have a piston cylinder arrangement, and we have a hypothetical situation like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in from 1 to 2, the gases inside it are being transferred this QH amount of heat, and it is being expanded, and after expansion, hypothetically your this thing is hypothetically it became adiabatic, and this process 2 to 3 that occurs. So this is 1 to 2 it is going, okay, adiabatically. Now sorry, 1 to 2 it is going isothermally, then it is going expanding adiabatically. So this thing is may also called reversible adiabatic, and then we call it isentropic because both means the same. Okay, and similar all, I mean the next stroke that is coming inside, that is again isothermal compression, and then again hypothetically we bring this thing into adiabatic enclosure. So remember we talked this cycle on my PV diagram as let's suppose I start from 1, I'm going from 1 to 2, sorry 2, and then so this is isothermally, then iso to 3 somewhere here, then we go back again this way 3 to 4 and this way, right? And on TS diagram, if we talk about in TS diagram, we can actually, so first process is isothermal, so temperature is constant, so 1 to 2 it goes parallel to x-axis, then 2 to 3, since this is an isentropic process, 2 to 3 is an isentropic, reversible adiabatic. So 2 to 3 just came down. So it looks something like this. So if we compare these plots with these plots, like your diesel cycle or your uh, auto cycle, these many things. So if you do the calculations carefully, you will get that the efficiency that you get out of it is the maximum, and that maximum is nothing but 1 upon TL by TH. Okay, or this may be T4 by T1. Okay, and this would be the maximum thing. So in some sense we can write actually here n of Carnot, because since this is hypothetical and everything is done reversibly, internal reversibly. So this is maximum, then auto, then diesel. So this is the sequence that it follows. Okay, you should remember this. Okay, second thing I also wanted to talk about is there is something called dual cycle. People have come up with modified sense of cycles, with several different modified sense of cycles, and one of it widely used is called dual cycle. Okay, so in dual cycle it's a combination of auto and diesel, both. So from 1 to 2 it goes similar as what your auto cycle goes. Okay, again 1 to some intermediate position X it goes, but it doesn't come as something like this. It goes, now it follows after X, it follows diesel cycle. Remember, isobarically, right? So it's a mix between auto and diesel both. Okay, so talk about the term. We are not going to go the details of what these efficiencies, but you can anyway you can calculate. But if you talk about the dual cycle efficiency, it will lie somewhere in between. Okay, so in broad sense, I can again write Carnot is greater than an auto, is greater than an dual, is greater than an diesel. Okay, now in this class I'm going to talk about another cycle that is widely used in gas turbine engines and your jet engines. But jet engines, right now calling this, it works as jet engine is a bit slightly off sense, because jet engines uses nozzle instead of turbine. But more or less it follows this Brayton cycle, this also. Okay. So the typical cycle of Brayton cycle of open. So there are two types of Brayton cycle you can think of: open cycle and closed cycle. We'll talk about, but first let's focus on this open cycle. So in this there are typically 3-4 components, namely compressor, combustion chamber, turbine. Okay, and there is a shaft. This is typical. Typically, you will not find in your auto or diesel cycle. As compared to that, here, what you see here, the turbine is also connected through a shaft, which also some work output that is being generated from this particular cycle is being used to rotate the shaft which in turn gives power to this compressor as well. So this is a shaft, you'll see. Okay. So unlike all other cycles, you will not see these kind of things. Okay. It's kind of you are taking help from what you are getting out of it. Okay. So if we talk in terms of cycles, processes, let's it starts from state 1, where your fresh air is being compressed in a compressor. Okay. Let's suppose I'm also supplying a slight amount of W in, but in generally the W net proportion of some proportion of W net is being taken back from turbine to this compressor to run this compressor. Okay, so after doing some work into the compressor, this fresh air is being compressed to at higher temperature. Okay, remember this, all these cycles, what I am talking about, the working fluid is air. That is the typical trait of all the gas power cycles. Okay, now this compressed air, high pressure and high temperature, not that high, but yes, after compressing you will get high temperature. So at it reaches at 2. Okay, after 2, it is being burnt through some fuel in combustion chamber. So Q2 is being added to this particular the gas that comes from 2. Okay, so at high temperature and high pressure, this after this you will get high temperature and high pressure, very high temperature, and this being supplied to turbine in order to rotate the blades of this turbine. In turn, you will get the exhaust gases. Okay, in terms of low pressure and moderate temperatures. In consequence to that, you will get some amount of work that is being shown over here, and some amount of that I have already told that some amount of this work net is being supplied to rotate the shaft and compressors. So the typical cycle that you could think of this this particular cycle, which is also called Brayton cycle. Why cycle? Cycle because we are allowed to expand these exhaust gases to the atmosphere, and we can think that these two states are again being recirculated here. Okay, in terms of releasing some amount of Q out. Okay, so you can see this is your Brayton cycle PV diagram. Okay, so in PV diagram from 1 to 2, so from 1, this is my 1 to 2. So compressor and turbines are isentropic devices, right? Remember, isentropic devices. Also steady, it operates steady in nature, steady operating devices, steady isentropic devices. So 1 to 2, from 1 to 2, it goes isentropically to 2. After 2, Q in being added, okay, through the combustion chamber from and from 3 to 4 again it is expanded through turbine, and this turbine is again isentropic. You can think of as an isentropic device. This is also turbines are generally adiabatically enclosed. So adiabatic expansion is nothing but isentropic expansion. It's happening. So after 4 to 1 again, whatever the exhaust gases that liberates heat out of the free environment and comes to the state 1 again, and we can think it as a complete cycle here in some sense. How we have same analogously we have seen this thing, same thing in our diesel and petrol engines. Okay, so this is again a cycle. Similarly, we can also think of this PV plot on TS diagram in this manner, similar manner. 1 to 2 is S is constant, so this is vertical. This plot is vertical from 1 to 2, this process. 2 to 3, again this 2 to 3 is again combustion chamber, so there are so the pressure becomes at constant pressure it happens, and this also at constant pressure. It happens. So at constant pressure you will go from 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 again isentropic drop, and then 4 to 1 again this process. So it goes in cycle in this manner. In contrast to, okay, so this slide we have already we should discuss, because before going into the closed cycle we should discuss this, what's happening here. So what I have already told that some overall this work, some portion of this work is being used to drive this compressor. So there is something called back work ratio. So this back work ratio is defined as the fraction of turbine work used to drive the compressor is called the back work ratio. So W compressor given. Okay, so this compressor is being fed to the actual compressor. Okay, so this proportion divided by this turbine. Turbine work. Okay, so you have a more amount of thing, but actually you are getting something lesser. So that proportion divided by this whole thing, you will call this as a back work ratio, and this is important when we will talk about steam power plants. So the reason being this thing, the work, the extra work that the portion of the work is being derived to the compressor. So these gas power plants, so since this is open cycle, so first we'll talk about this, then we'll come into the steam power plant and the gas power plants differences and why it is important. This backwards ratio is important. Let's first talk about this closed cycle. So this closed cycle is again similar to what this open cycle would look like, except there are two more components that are there in order to make it a complete cycle. So in this, your working fluid is working as in closed manner, whereas your working fluid here, it takes things and it releases out to the environment, okay, in open manner. So if you think this as your control volume, things are coming in and going out. But here, if you think as a control volume in this here, everything is inside, nothing is coming out. Okay, so once you trap your working fluid, it's there indefinitely. So again, it starts from here. Your gases are being compressed, similar fashion, goes to the heat exchanger or the boiler. Okay, which actually so through boiler you will heat up the gases that are going from passing through 2. Okay, and it reaches 3. After 3, it expands turbine. You gives you some work out. After that expanded gases, it is being supplied to another heat exchanger, where you will liberate some Q out, and then the rest of the gases are pulled again to the compressor, and this cycle goes similar fashion. The PV and TS chart would be similar, and TS chart would be similar or very same what it is depicted here, because one, I mean, we are coming back from 4 to 1 again, and it's actually this closed Brayton cycle is, in some sense, it is more close towards reality of this cycles as compared to the open cycles, but both would look similar. Okay. So this typical process that is happening is called open Brayton cycle, and this is also called gas turbine. Gas turbines are also used in gas power plants. But you rarely have seen that whenever you go to any power plant. So what is the purpose of this power plant? To generate electricity. So whatever the shaft you are rotating, I mean, you are getting the work from the turbine, you put this thing into the generator and you will get the electricity. Okay. But you have rarely seen that these gas power plants, I mean, these power plants are being run by gas. You have rarely seen that. The reason being, in order to, I mean, this turbine is being again connected through a shaft to the compressor, and if you calculate the back work ratio, it is very high. I mean, this compressor needs more power if the working fluid is gas. Okay. The reason being, what could be the reason? That is why, so let's not talk about the reason first. So let's talk what is the advantage. So that is why we don't use gases to run a power plant in reality. But yes, in some nuclear power plants, you may think of these things because of maybe safety reasons. But in general, you will see only steam power plants that are there in reality. Okay, so instead of compressing the gas, the steam in turn, or the liquid, you may either you compress the gas or you pump the liquid. Which one would require lesser amount of work? So yes, this pumping a liquid would require lesser amount of work as compared to compressing a gas. Okay, so that is why gas power plants needs more power, since your back work ratio is higher, more close to 50%. So 50% of your overall work is being fed to the to run the compressor in gas power plants, whereas in steam power plants, that we'll see in next chapter, because steam is multi-phase or two-phase thing, and the working fluid is multi-phase there. So we'll talk about steam power plant in next chapter, which is based on Rankine cycle. Okay, we'll talk about in detail. I mean, this in this chapter it is yet to come, but yes, for an overview, in this Rankine cycle, since your steam and your water are in some part of the process, there is a water, in some part you will have steam. Okay, so all sorts of things are there. So it is advantageous when it is in the water form, you will pump it, and in pumping that you will need very less amount of work input. So in general, it is more efficient over gas power plants. That is why gas power plants are not seen in reality. So this is not very widely used, but yes, steam power plants, we will see that steam power plants are widely used to the electricity. So okay, this is also a good interview questions they may ask in whenever you sit in a competitive exam or somewhere. Okay. So now let's come back to the thermodynamic analysis of this Brayton cycle. So we can do the similar thermodynamic analysis. Let me come back here. So we have one process 1 to 2. Can we summarize it? So 1 to 2 is isentropic. 2 to 3 is constant pressure heat addition. So isobaric, I can directly write isobaric heat addition. 3 to 4 again isentropic. It is going through here compressor. This is turbine. Okay, sorry, 4, and 4 to 1 again isobaric heat rejection. Right. So can we think of something again similar fashion? What is my aim? What is my whole aim? So this again we can think as a closed system. Obviously this is for open cycle, it is not closed, but in thermodynamic sense we can think of it as a closed cycle because it is reaching to the same place, same state. Okay, this is closed, and for this closed cycle you have Q in, Q out. So again, so your work or your efficiency can be written as work divided by Q in. Similar fashion, work is nothing but Q out minus, so Q in minus Q out, right? So you can come again as U Q in, so Q out divided by Q in, similar way, right? What we have done in our Otto and diesel cycles. So I'm not going to put the things in details here. So 1 minus Q out by Q in is equal to 1 minus. Okay, so Q out and Q in, can we think of what my Q in is, since this is a constant pressure process and some amount of work is being, some amount of boundary work is happening. Okay, from 2 to 3, what boundary work? Rotate the blades. Okay, so it will not. So what is my Q in? Will be divided by enthalpies, H3 minus H2. Remember why this H3 is and H2? Why not U3? Because some amount of boundary work is happening. So this E in minus E out is equal to delta E. So this is all the Q ins. This is all the Q outs. Okay, plus W in plus W out is equal to delta U. So this W out is, there is some amount of W out is there that is hidden over here. You will get back here P delta V here, and you will club this thing plus P delta V, and you will get H. So this is your right expression, H3 minus H2. Similar fashion here also, the turbine is also doing, while expanding through turbine, there is some boundary work is happening. So Q out, so since this is Q out, so I'll take minus sign over here. Minus Q out is equal to H1 minus H2. This is why Q out you can write H1 minus H4. So this Q out minus sign will be absorbed there, H4 minus H1. So let's write there 1 minus H minus H2 divided by H4 minus H1. Again, we can write this in terms of Cp dt. 1 minus Cp will be cancelled since both up and down will be similar. So T3 minus T2, T4 minus T1. So it can again be written as 1 minus T3 minus T2, T4 minus T1. We can do one more step, 1 minus. So am I doing wrong? So Q out is no, yeah, here it is Q out by Q in. No? So Q out is 4 minus 1. So I did mistake. So this is, let me erase that. So these things are wrong. I have made a mistake. You guys are not aware, it seems. Should be aware. So 4 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 4 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2. Okay, so T1, let me take this common, T4 by T1 minus 1 divided by T2 common, T3 by T2 minus 1. Okay, now for 2 to 3 process, I can actually write, so 2 to 3 is isentropic. Okay, so for isentropic relation, T2 by T1, I can write P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, isentropic relations of ideal gases. We have seen that. So P2 by P1. So what is my P2 and P1? So let's suppose this is P2 and this is P1. So generally I make more mistakes while writing. Okay, so this is P1, this is P2, and this is again equal to P3, and this is again equal to P4. So I can similarly I can write P2 as P3 and P1 as P4. I can replace P2 and P3, P2 by P3 and P1 by P4, and similar relation. And this again, if we think in terms of temperatures, I can write again T3 by T4. So in turn, I can write the temperature relations T1 by T2 is equal to T3 by T4, which again I can write. I want to make things here T4 by T1. So T4 by T1 is nothing but T3 by T2, which is equal. So this we can cancel. So now eta comes to be 1 minus T1 by T2, which again I can write 1 minus T1 by T2 is this relation. So I can write 1 upon T2 by T1. And this one step I can write 1 upon P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. And this we introduce a new term called pressure ratio. We define a new term pressure ratio RP is equal to P2 by P1 for Brayton cycle. Okay, once we define it, we can write eta is equal to 1 minus 1 upon Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So this is what it is written over here. Okay. Typical when we expand this thing, I mean when we put some values over here and we want to express this in some plot, we see that for several pressure ratios from 1 to 25, this plot goes quadratically or root wise, you can say. I mean y is equal to root x. It's kind of that plot it follows in some quadratic sense. So in Brayton cycle, you can see it goes from here and becomes flat. And the typical pressure ratio for gas turbines are 5 to 20. So Rp generally for it may be the design constraint that your turbines or your compressor may not run more than this. 20 pressure ratios, because your device may fail, okay, in general. And yes, this is the ratio it should follow, and for this particular range, it may, your efficiencies may lie between 30 to 60%. Okay, we have already talked actually. So two more things I want to talk about is, okay, so we are left with the jet cycles, ideal jet cycles. We'll talk in later class. So before that, so in reality, there is a deviation of actual gas turbine cycles from ideal one. So how? So it has been assumed that, so in TS cycle, it has been assumed that it goes from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and come back again, and it goes something like this, okay, isentropically. But things doesn't follow that way. Okay, so this is your typical ideal isentropic process that is happening, but in reality, the actual thing may not be isentropic. It has some deviation, so entropy may change a bit. Okay, entropy may change. So from 3 to 4, actually it goes from 3 to 4 here, and from 1 to 2, apart from going from 1 to 2, ideally it goes 1 to 2a actual. Okay, so this is how it follows. Moreover, we talk about the constant heat, I mean heat addition at constant pressure. That also doesn't follow. So this is your constant pressure plot curve, but it deviates and it comes here. Similarly here also the pressure plot, it doesn't follow properly. So in turn, what you expect you will not get. So there is a deviation which you should keep remember these things because of these irreversibilities that are there in your turbines and compressors. So the efficiency of compressor can be think as a work idle divided by actual, and this is how you define. Okay, 2 minus 1, 2s, this is idle, and 2 actual minus h1. Okay, and similar for turbine as well. So yes, I mean for today's lecture we'll keep this thing. Okay, okay, we can, since we have time, we can actually go back and look for one particular example. So this is the example I want to talk about. An ideal Otto cycle. This is a previous example we'll talk. Otto cycle is there as a compression ratio of 8. At the beginning of the compression process, the air is at 100 kPa. So it starts from 1. At 1 we have 100 kPa. This is your P1. It is given 100 kPa. And 800 kilojoule per kg of heat is transferred to air during the constant volume addition process. So at this Q in is also given 800 kilojoule per kg. So this is per unit mass basis, everything is given. Accounting for the variation of specific heats of air with temperature, determine the maximum temperature and pressure that occur during the cycle. This is the first part. Second part, the net work output, the thermal efficiency, and the mean effective pressure for the cycle. So you guys take, I mean, I'll give you some time to work on it. Try this, because these questions you may expect in your examinations. This typical questions, Otto cycles, what are the efficiency, what are the network output you would expect. Because the pressure ratios is given 8. So here, if it is V1, so this is V1 by 8. It has been compressed 1/8 of the volume. Okay. So all those different data that you need is there. Okay, are you guys doing parallelly? Kalpit Patel, are you doing it? Are you there? Harsh Sharma? Nobody is there. Dhruvin Patel. Am I audible? Okay, it seems we have time, so you guys can do the homework. Or if you are not able to do, we'll work it out in the next class. Okay, any questions? No questions. You are not. You guys are not responding. No, none of you. Anybody?
No question, sir.
No question.
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll.
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll leave this class. Oh, okay. I also didn't talk about the Ericsson and Stirling cycle. We will talk about sometime later. That is not, I mean, also not in our syllabus right now. You may encounter these cycles in your advanced courses. Okay, then let me take the attendance.